So that's literally playing a whole new team.
Who's the Bulls? Pardon?
Well, as I usually do, I give honor to God first before I do anything. Thank you, Lord. You know, this was a good, hard-fought battle. We knew this team was going to be tough because they're a different team. You know, their record don't indicate how good they are because they just now started to win and they got kicked some guys off. Now they're a pretty tough team to beat right now. They literally had won their last two road games. They went in Detroit and won, and they went into Wright State and won. So they thought they could come in here and win. So they had that kind of confidence coming in. And we knew in order to beat this team, we had to shut them down defensively, and they couldn't score over 60 points. And literally it came out, we only scored 59, so that tells you something.
Good questions for these three. Coach, first, you talked about
Players.
Let's hit the players first.
Oh,
Single
second
out.
lead
Yeah,
first.
they got some autographs and stuff.
Yeah, Anton, you guys' defense really excelled in the second half, and you and Marlon inside. Was there a real resolve to contest everything as much as you ever have?
It was just great timing. It was a little bit of great timing. Being tired of Charlie yelling at me a lot in the game. It was a little mixture of both of them, so I had to hold down my part and block some shots.
You say Charlie yelled at you a little bit. What, to encourage you, or?
Charlie just being Charlie.
But it is to encourage you?
Oh, yeah, no, all positive, all positive.
Trey, the offensive momentum swung there in about a 4 or 5 minute stretch in the second half. You made a lot of the baskets, mostly taking it right to the hole. Was that the thought that crossed your mind as they crept closer, or is that just what the defense presented?
Yeah, that's what they presented because early on in the game, I got hot from the outside, so they were so worried about the outside shooting that I was able to penetrate the gaps. And Anton did a lot of sealing inside for me and gave me lanes to the basket.
As you matched up against number 20, Anton, it looked like at certain parts it started to get a little bit chippy down there. So was it a little bit of a struggle to keep your composure?
No, it was fun to me. He was leaning on me, so I leaned back on him. And the referee told us that wasn't right, so it was just a physical game. I was having fun.
Charlie, while Anton and Marlon were taking care of things inside, it looked like you guys on the perimeter were really getting up into people to deny them things.
Yeah, at halftime, our coach told us we have to pick up the intensity on defense because that's one thing we struggle with. Our last road game we lost against Detroit, we started off slow in the second half, and we showed that we could do that, and we got back into the game, and we just wanted to play the whole game that way this game.
Anton, this is the kind of game that could have slipped away. I mean, they played well enough to win. You know, if you guys hadn't shown so much resolve down the stretch in the second half, how important was it to bounce back as a team after a pretty tough defeat the other night?
It was really important. This team, like our coach said at the beginning, this is a really good team. They just lost a lot of games, but this is a tough team. They're going to fight to the end. So it was really important for us to control the defensive end and have a great mindset to bounce back after that tough loss in Detroit.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Gary, I'll pose that same question to you. You know, you've said in the past that a tough loss is bad enough on its own, but it gets even worse if it's compounded when you don't bounce back the next game and it's 2 in a row.
And normally that happens because you're playing. You could be playing a lesser foe,
Right.
and your mind is just not there when that starts. And I thought our guys knew what to expect. They just had to get into the flow of the game. And I thought again, when we lost at Detroit, I thought the biggest key was Anton getting in foul trouble in the first half. He only played 5 minutes. This game, Marlon got into foul trouble in the first half, and he only played 5 minutes in the first half. So it really, it really hurt us. It stopped our momentum. Now, and I thought we were able to use them well in the second half.
You love defense. You've never made any secret of your
Oh, no, love it,
unstinting
love it, man, love it.
unstinting love affair with defense. And if you look at some of the numbers here,
Unbelievable.
they shoot 28.1% for the game. Anton gets 6 blocks, and while you took
For a
while
team
you took
total.
hammering on the boards, you offset it by tough defense. Can you talk about that?
Well, this team is the number one offensive rebounding team in our conference. So, I mean, they did what they normally do. I mean, what I see here, I don't like what I see, but, you know, we got to go back to the drawing board and work on that. But I thought that our pressure caused them problems in the second half. We didn't turn them over as much, but they only had 2 turnovers in the first half, and they ended up with 9. So they turned it over 7 times in the second half. If the officials would have made some other calls, it may have been 10, 12, 13 time turnovers. But because they were moving their feet every single time when we trap them and do everything, they were doing pivotings to get away from the trap. But see, someone's not in a good position to see this, or there's a problem going on.
Coach, could you talk a little more about that pressure and how maybe the interior defense just kind of was in sync with the guys on perimeter?
No, very good question. You know, when we're playing at our best, our big guys are the second line defense for our front guys, and that's important because we apply so much pressure on the ball. You know, that's what we do. We're a pressure-oriented team. We even named it water pressure. So we get after people like that, and I thought they did that today. They pressured, they kept that pressure on them, and I thought our back line guys did a good job. Now, not only did they get a good job stepping up to help them, they did a good job of when the guy did get by them, still blocking the shot. They didn't have an easy shot to take. In the first half, that wasn't going as well. They hit a couple of buckets doing that. The second half, I thought our guys were more freer to go after it. And one of the keys was Marlon was still in the game. And when Marlon's in the game, that brings another shot blocker in the game.
Any other questions?
Well, yeah, just one quick one about Charlie's floor game. He had a lot of nice passes tonight, including one to Marlon for one of those Sports Center dunks at right at the end, which, you know, was an important basket because they had narrowed the lead at that point. Talk about the evolution of Charlie's floor game, especially during the conference.
Well, let me give you this, how good his floor game was today. Charlie was so hurting, he could barely move. His legs were killing him. He came to us and said, man, Coach, my legs are tired. I can barely move them. We gave him an ice bath before it to help him. It was just, so he was playing on sheer will out there today. And senior day. Those 2 things, sure will and senior day. And I thought he made plays, just enough plays to give us what we needed to win this game. If you remember, we were on a run and we hit 3 straight buckets in a row, and he comes and hit the big 3 to give us the lead. He hadn't taken any shots really up until that point long like that, and he said, now this was the time. And he knew what we needed. He also made some great passes, and the other thing is that being as tired as he was, he had to guard their better defensive players. So, you know, I thought he really had a great floor game, and I thought he did a great job out there.
So you got the season coming down to the wire now, last 4 games. Is there anything that you know right now that you want to see more of, you want to see less of coming down between that matchup against Valpo?
I want to see a lot of stuff. But you know, what we have to do is we can't lose. I want to see that our guys aren't in foul trouble. This is really hurting us, and we got to have that help. The other thing is I got to have more of the bench. The bench has got to give these guys some help because we got a game Tuesday, we got a game Friday, we got a game Sunday. That's 3 games in 6 days? They need rest, man. And you know, Charlie's saying his legs hurt. He needs rest. I rest him as often as I could to help him get through this. But and I'm gonna give people like Charlie and Trey and Anton a whole rest tomorrow. But see that, you know, this is a team we don't know at all because they're in a foreign country to us right now. Whereas if we were playing, let's say, Green Bay on Tuesday, we at least played them one time. We have film on them. We can see them. We'll get film on this team, but the film that we have on Green Bay is against us, so we know what we can do. But this team, we don't know, and we don't know the physicality of them. We don't know any of that. So what we got to do is just play it by ear, and then we got to get ready for a real big game on Friday against Green Bay.
No disrespect to Western Carolina, and you know I'm sure that they're going to be that's a good conference, and I'm guessing that they're a physical, tough team. But the 2 games that come to my eye right away when I look at that schedule is your favorite road trip of the year to Wisconsin. I know you've often spoken about the specifics of that trip and not necessarily having to do with the records of those two teams. In just general terms, because I'm going to address this at the end of my story today, what is it about that trip that you regard as so challenging?
Well, it's a long trip, you know. Even though we're gonna fly it, it's still a long trip because you fly in, then you gotta travel, and then you gotta travel back to the other place. And I mean, they're all long distance, and and you're in snow country, so you're up there, and so that wear and tear is on your body, and the bad thing about it is, you know, you play a team like Green Bay, who's one of the front runners in our conference, at their place under those circumstances. Win or lose, then you got to play in 2 days later. You got to play the team just sitting there waiting for you, Milwaukee, and so it's not a great trip at all.
Anything else?
Do you have an update on Terrell's status?
He's still. I mean, it's sore. His ankle's sore. He twisted it in that last game, the same ankle, and we're hoping we get him back. I doubt it. I think the earliest we'll probably get him back is probably against Green Bay. That's the earliest. And our guys need some rest. You know, they don't need to play 30+ minutes. I mean, when I look at this, Grady played 37, Lewis played 38, Lee played 37. That's a lot of minutes. My goal going in that game, I wanted Lewis to play 30 and Lee to play 30. That was my goal. And Grady, if I can get 30 out of him, those three guys, I wanted 30 minutes only, and it just didn't work out that way. This was a good team. It's a better team than what I thought they were. And the reason why they were better is, when I look at this team, this is not the same team we played in when was that, January? So it's not the same team. There's only one starter from that team that we played in January. A lot of teams are going to struggle with this team. You know, when they went into Detroit and beat Detroit and went into Wright State and beat Wright State, they weren't fooling now. This is a pretty good team. So whoever gets them in the playoffs, they better watch out. Because they got a lot of weapons. And the other thing is they shoot the ball well. You know, we defended them and didn't allow them to shoot it as well. But in their last 3 games, they hit 11, 12, and 11 threes. That's a lot of threes. And we held them to 8, which is still a lot of threes. But, I mean, that tells you how well this team shoots the ball.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, Gary.
Yep, thanks.